Hi everyone, I'm going to present some activities in our hydrological observatory, which is the Alento River catchment, located in Campania region, in the southern part of Campania region. And as you can see, the entire catchment is 400 square kilometers, but we are focusing our research activities just in the upper Alento River catchment that is closed, is delimited at the outlet by a water reservoir closed by a dam. So basically we have a historical site, MFC1, represented by the red symbol, which was equipped with several sensors, and we are going to share our data upon request. But the most important thing is to depict the new areas. Since 2016, we are monitoring soil moisture at the soil near the soil surface with the cosmic ray sensor in each site, and a SoilNet wireless sensor network. And moreover, we installed a weather station in each site, in which we measure precipitation and weather data for the Penman-Monteith equation to estimate grass reference, potential evapotranspiration. I'm gonna show one of the two sites, MFC2, which is in a crop field, where we can see at the center the installation of the position of the cosmic ray and the position of the 20 SoilNet units, in which we measure soil moisture, soil temperature, electrical conductivity, and matrix potential at 15 centimeters and 30 centimeters soil depth. The area, the two catchments are very small, so we are talking about micro basins. So this is about 8 hectares. And we are monitoring also the stream flow, as you can see from the red triangle. Moreover, recently we developed a new machine learning algorithm to estimate near surface soil moisture pattern by using spectral measurements from Sentinel-1. And these images show 4 days, one in the morning at 5 a.m. and one in the afternoon at 5 p.m. Of a soil moisture pattern. And we went during the satellite overpass to measure directly soil moisture for ground truth measurement. And these measurements were used to compare the Sentinel-1 estimates. We used the gravimetric methods based on laboratory analysis and a portable device, time domain reflectometry, the so-called TDR, to compare the SAR-based soil moisture estimates. And as you can see, the machine learning algorithm is promising and can be used in other field campaigns. Moreover, the final goal is to use a complex 3-dimensional hydrological model like hydrogeosphere, as you can see in the figure. So the numerical grid is made of several cells. And in each cell, we need to characterize the soil and the vegetation properties. So that's why we already finished a sampling campaigns in which we collected the soil samples to measure the water retention function and the hydraulic conductivity function in a 25-meter grid size. Moreover, we are also monitoring the water level in over 22 positions over the experimental area, and the water table is monitored every hour. Finally, another interesting topic is the application of tracer-based knowledge to test the two water world hypotheses. Indeed, we are carrying out an isotopic campaign. We started recently in October 2020, and we are going to use the isotope measurements also in HYDRUS 1D to characterize the ecohydrological separation and the travel time of every single rainfall event to drainage, as you can see in this plot. But also to evaporation loss and transpiration losses. So basically, we are going to characterize the seasonal, the impact of seasonal rainfall regime on the ecohydrological separation, but also the impact of plausible drought expected in the projections on the root water uptake. So basically, we just started. So our field campaigns are continuing also in the future, and we want to integrate this knowledge with new field campaigns, especially those based on visible and near infrared spectroscopy, both mounted on ground based sensors, but also on drones. These spectral measurements will be used to measure the soil physical, chemical, and also hydraulic properties through the use of pedo transfer functions or spectral transfer functions. We are going to integrate ground-based, proximal-based, and also remote-based sensors to fill the gap between among spatial scales to estimate soil moisture. And also we want to point out that we are going to share our data in very soon. So the data belonging to the Alento Observatory are part of the Terreno network across Europe. So very soon an official website will be available for everybody. And I also report the references in this short discussion. And I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Firstly, I will talk about a paper that was recently published in Remote Sensing. The name of this paper is Mapping Water Infiltration Rate using Ground and UAV hyperspectral data, a case study of Alento, Italy. Kirchhoff defined the water infiltration rate as the length unit of water entering into the soil per time units, regardless the forces of gradients that affects the water. So this is also a soil surface dependent property because it's measured in the field, and also it's a very good case study to investigate the gap between the laboratory and field spectral observations. The water infiltration rate is related to several soil attributes. I will name just a part of them. Firstly, Agassi found a negative relationship between the water infiltration rate and the energy drops. This relationship is caused because once the drops fall to the soil surface, firstly, all the soil particles jump up, and firstly, those that are heavier falls before, and then those that are lighter. This process is repetitive because the rain is a repetitive process, and this seals the soil and thus decreases the infiltration. Then Lado found positive relationship against organic matter. Gabriel found negative relationship against aliphatic bonds of organic matter, which are rings of hydrogen that surrounds carbon. Benura and Letay found negative relationship against clay, and Stern found negative relationship against smectite, which is a clay mineral in advanced stages of erosion. And in the same paper, he found a more positive relationship against elite and coelite, which are also clay minerals. This example illustrates how we lose part of the information once the soil samples are collected to the laboratory. Here we can see the laboratory and the field spectral signatures, as well as the ratio between them. In the ratio between these spectral signatures, we can see that we lose quantitative spectral properties of organic matter, iron oxides, hygroscopic water, and clay minerals. Also, it's possible to see the differences with the naked eye. And here, the places from which we collected the samples in order to build our data sets. These maps illustrates the central location of the study sites experiment design. So in order to execute a spectral-based model to the drone data, we had to resample spectrally the dataset to the spectral configuration of the Cubert, which is the aerial sensor, the drone sensor. We generated the spectral-based models using the partially squared regression model to predict the water infiltration rate in different textural groups and also in two different spectral resolutions, the initial of the ASD and also the resampled to the Cubert. Then once we run the model into the hyperspectral image, we selected randomly 100 of bare soil pixels to generate interpolation models, maps, and also hotspot analysis. It's important to mention that the model that we selected to apply into the drone image was the clay model after resampling, because it better represented the nature of the study site, and I will explain further details later. Here's some details about the drone, which is a carbon core Cortex X8. The Cubert measures the reflectance in 125 bands in the visible and in the near infrared spectral range. This mission was carried out around 2 years ago in June. The pilot is in this meeting, Janos Besaros, and the pixel size was of 5 centimeters per pixel. This scheme summarizes all what I explained now. We left some validation panels here to examine the spectral similitude between the drone and the field observations. And here we can see that there is a high similitude. In the right, you can see the execution to the drone image and the vegetation coverage. And as you see, there is like a disproportion of the concentration of the pixels. So we decided to select randomly 100 of pixels to continue with the analysis. In the left, we have an interpolation of the 21 samples that were collected in the field, and in the right, the 100 pixels that were selected randomly. And just visually, you can see that there is a high similitude. Just during the presentation of Paolo, I took a screenshot just to demonstrate that here there is a high similitude. We compared the clay against the water infiltration of the paper that was published. I don't know if you can notice that. Someone can answer, please. If it's good, the resolution of the map of Paolo. Okay.
Can you show again can you show the screenshot of Paolo's map?
In the right corner, in the
okay.
Okay, here I draw a rectangle. Okay.
Okay.
So if you compare, you can see that like in the left we have more red areas, and in the right more green.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So it's like quite similar. And when Paolo presented his map, I remember that, so I added that to the presentation. Then I added a hotspot analysis. It's important to mention that with the 21 points, it was not possible to detect significantly hotspots or cold spots for water infiltration rate, because we collected just 21 samples there. And this method works considering the values presented by each entity and the neighboring samples. So here we didn't have enough, but once we apply this analysis to the 100 samples that were selected from the predicted values, we can see that there are several hotspots or cold spots of water infiltration rate, significant. Then we extracted the predicted water infiltration rate in 5 samples that were not part of the calibration stage of the model that was created and executed then to the drone image. And we can see that there is a nice trend and also a high spectral similitude. And the conclusions of this part is that soil surface reflectance is a good tool to predict water infiltration rate. The beta coefficients revealed that there are several spectral properties that are lost once we collect the samples to the laboratory. The field domain presented higher accuracies than the laboratory in all the cases. It was possible to obtain a good generic model, considering also the shortwave infrared spectral range. But once we decreased the resolution to the Cubert, the accuracies were poor. And the validation stage of the execution to the Cubert image was satisfactory. Thank you.